Okay, here we go with the answers for this quiz. Now that you've done your corrections, it is important that you go back and watch the original quiz video that I posted that would have been before this quiz that shows you how to properly format things using the equation editor. So the first couple I'll do really quickly because they were on today's video already. So using your negative exponent rule, you move this to the bottom. That gets rid of your negative exponent. You can have no negative exponents in your answer. And then 4 squared, we can make simpler. So 1/16 is the only acceptable answer there. Here, the only thing that we move is this y to the negative fifth. So again, using your negative exponent rule, everything else does not move. Your y to the fifth goes to the bottom. So now we're changing our rule. This is your quotient rule. So you have a to the 2 minus 3, which becomes 4a to the negative 1. And again, this moves. The 4 doesn't move with it. We don't have a reason to move the 4. Those are two separate things. Remember, that's 4 times a to the negative 1. So then we move it, and we have 4 over a. Okay. Number 4, this is negative, so that goes to the bottom. The 4 stays on top. X squared, y cubed. Number 5. When there are a lot of you, the biggest mistake that people made here is that they wanted to multiply these. So a lot of people got 72 as a part of your answer. 72 is not a part of your answer because that would be multiplying. So this is where you should be using, I told you you could have the properties with you. I don't want the whole note packet out, but just those rules. So let's see if I still have it up here. Nope, I don't. Just the rules from that first sheet. You can have the rules out. So what do? We add these together. So it's 3 plus negative 4 plus 6. So if you add those together, even though there's a negative in there, if I take my two positive numbers, I got 9. And then the negative 4 makes it a to the fifth. So it always says, type your work and your answer. You should have that first step there to show me, to show me that you know what you're doing. Okay? So now, going back up here to the top. All right, so we got some C's, those match, and then some D's, and those match. So remember, this is simplified, but really it's d to the first. So if I have d to the first and d to the negative first, that becomes d to the 0. That's going to cancel out. My c's add to negative 1 because I have c to the 3 minus 4, or 3 plus a negative 4, depending on how you want to look at it. So now that becomes a 1 because anything to the 0 power is 1. And then you move your c to the bottom. And again, it is not c to the first. That's not simple enough. You can go simpler. 1 over c. Same thing here. We don't have our power to a power yet, so we're still just adding exponents. So negative 4 times negative 5 is negative 20. X squared plus a negative 1, if we're going to write it correctly, or minus 1, either way. And then y to the 3 plus 2. So this becomes negative 20 x y to the fifth. Now we start doing our power to a power. So this multiplies in here. Now we're changing our rule. Your power to a power rule is finally when you multiply. So it's 3 squared and then t to the 7 times 2. So that equals 9 t to the 14th. Here, again, I do my power rule. I get p to the negative 15th initially, and then I move that to the bottom. last one here. Before you do any combining, this 3 multiplies in, so 3 times you distribute that in. The 6 goes in twice. But remember, anything to the 0 power is 1, so that's going to cancel because 6 times 0 is still 0. But I have -2 cubed, which is -8. Then I have p cubed, q cubed, because I'm doing 3 times 1, 3 times 1. But then here I have p 2 times 6, p to the 12th. So now I have to do a second step, combine my p's, and then that becomes -8 p to the 15th q cubed. Down here on this next page, this is right in radical form. You have to do these on your retake. So anything in radical form, you have a formula, and it is, so if it's x to the a over b, it's the same thing as moving that b to the front and then having x to the a underneath. So in this case, it says right in radical form. So you are going to take the square root of 4. And really, then you should also show me that you can simplify the square root of 4 and get 2. Now this one here actually is written wrong. It should be written, we don't want to write it in radical form. We want to write it in exponent form. So you just go the other way. So now this 3 just goes underneath. So you have 5 to the 2/3 power. And you can't simplify that. You would get a fraction.